Pearl is a teenage whale. Mr. Krabs is a crab. And for some reason, they live together like father and daughter. SpongeBob never explains it, no one questions it, and we're just supposed to move on like it makes sense. But the deeper you look, the more things start to feel off. Why doesn't Pearl look like anyone else in Bikini Bottom? Why is Mr. Krabs so obsessed with keeping her happy? And why is her mother never mentioned? There's a mystery here, one Nickelodeon never wanted us to solve. But I think we finally can. SpongeBob SquarePants is one of the weirdest shows ever made. Talking sponges, squirrels in diving suits, underwater campfires. Logic doesn't really live in Bikini Bottom, but somehow even in all the chaos, there's been a few consistencies that keep the show grounded in its own strange reality. Like how SpongeBob never gets his driving license and Patrick is always dumb. And even when crazy things happen, like the town getting destroyed, everything is magically reset by the next episode. It's not realistic, but it's a consistent pattern the show sticks to. But then there's Pearl Krabs, a 6-foot-tall teenage sperm whale whose dad is a short, greedy crab obsessed with money. And somehow that's just supposed to be normal. They live together in an anchor-shaped house. She calls him daddy. He calls her me darling daughter. And the show never even tries to explain why a whale is the daughter of a crab. Not even once. No flashbacks, no backstory, no mention of her mother, nothing. Now, to be fair, SpongeBob has never been a show that deeply explains every family relationship. But even then, most of the characters actually make sense for the show and are consistent when you look at their families. SpongeBob's parents, Harold and Margaret, his grandma, and even his cousin Stanley are all sponges like he is. Patrick also has starfish parents. Sandy is a squirrel from Texas, so she doesn't need a family in Bikini Bottom. Plankton has Karen the computer, but it makes sense because he built her, and we've met his family. They're all plankton side. But Pearl, she's a whale. The only whale in town, and her dad is a crab. That's never seen in the show, and it's never explained. Now, you could argue that it's just a cartoon and not everything needs a reason, sure. But even other cartoons make this kind of thing work. Like in Adventure Time, Jake the dog and Lady Rainicorn have 5 hybrid pups that are a mix of both parents. The Amazing World of Gumball, and even in Kung Fu Panda, it's explained that Po is adopted and Mr. Ping raises him. But SpongeBob, one of the most iconic cartoons ever made, has a major character with a family setup that completely defies its logic. There's something really weird about how hard the show avoids this topic. It's not just that it doesn't make sense, it's that the show knows it doesn't make sense, and it's actively hiding the truth. Because if you really watch closely, Mr. Krabs and Pearl don't act like a normal father and daughter at all. He's not just overprotective, he's obsessive, he's paranoid about her emotions. He throws massive, expensive birthday parties like in the episode Whale of a Birthday just to make her smile, even though he's the cheapest character in the entire show. This is literally the guy who once tried to charge people for breathing air inside the Krusty Krab, and yet he'll buy Pearl designer shoes without flinching. Honestly, their entire relationship seems like it's built around money, and almost everything they do is tied to material things. Whatever their relationship is, it's not normal. It's not just unexplained, it's hiding something. And if we want to figure out the truth, we need to talk about Pearl's mother. So, there was supposed to be a 2-episode long origin backstory for Pearl's mom, but Steven Hillenburg kept pushing it because he didn't want to release it until it was perfect. Unfortunately, he took it to his grave after his passing in 2018. But in the official trivia book written by former episode writer David Fain in 2000, Mr. Krabs says that Pearl is a whale because she takes after her mother that way. So now we're sure that her mother is also a whale.
Pearl's my daughter, I'll spit in your eye. Yo-ho, Pearl's a whale, and it's her birthday. Yar, yar, yar.
Now here's where things get interesting. We know Mr. Krabs seems to like fishing, especially when it benefits him somehow, and from the Krusty Krab literally resembling a lobster trap, Mr. Krabs may have also once been in the business of catching larger sea creatures, including whale, which is super ironic considering his daughter is a whale. And in several episodes, it's hinted or outright stated that Mr. Krabs served in the Navy. For example, in Sleepy Time, we see a dream where he's commanding a Navy ship, clearly showing pride in his military background. Don't forget this clip, it'll be important later on. In Shell of a Man, he talks about being a tough sailor and even brings out his old Navy buddies. He also constantly uses phrases like "thar she blows" or "battle stations," which are old naval terms. So what does this have to do with fishing and giant sea creatures? Well, as a Navy man, Krabs would have spent years out at sea, possibly learning how to hunt, survive, and track large ocean animals. It's likely where he developed his skills and obsession with catching massive creatures like giant clams and whale. In fact, in the season 3 episode Clams, he becomes obsessed with catching a giant clam after it swallows his dollar. He treats it like a life or death hunting mission, even ignoring SpongeBob and Squidward to chase the clam down. That episode parodies Jaws and really shows how far he'll go for money, even if it means taking on a massive sea creature. There's also a creepy layer here. Since Pearl is a whale and he's shown to be into hunting big sea animals, I think he might have done something dark to Pearl's mom. There's even this scrapped SpongeBob episode concept that never made it to air, called Eugene's Revenge. But the name alone stirred up a ton of fan speculation. Eugene is Mr. Krabs' real name, and Revenge hints at some dark backstory or trauma that was meant to surface. This concept has appeared in early production notes, fan wikis, and even alleged leaks from ex-Nickelodeon staff. While there's no official storyboard or footage, the fan theories around this episode suggest it was cancelled because it got too dark for SpongeBob's usual tone. So what was Eugene's Revenge supposed to be about anyway? Here's what the fan speculation and some leak summaries say. Mr. Krabs gets triggered by something from his past, possibly a confrontation with an old enemy whale, or memories of a tragic incident involving one. The whole episode is said to explore Krabs' backstory, showing flashbacks of a whale hunting past or a dark decision he made that he regrets. Guys, I believe this whale is Pearl's mom, so this means Mr. Krabs killed Pearl's mother. In season 3, episode 10, SpongeBob and Patrick go to Mr. Krabs' house to paint his living room. While they're inside, we get a rare look at Mr. Krabs' personal belongings, most of which are from his Navy days: hooks, anchors, paddles, and other nautical memorabilia. But among all the Navy items, we see a framed picture on the wall that shows a large whale, way bigger than Pearl ever appears in the show, and a sailing ship likely belonging to Mr. Krabs. This whale is massive, almost kaiju-sized, and doesn't match Pearl's scale. That suggests it's not Pearl, but another whale, possibly her mother. What if that framed image of the giant whale in the ship isn't a peaceful memory? It's a trophy, a reminder. The exact scene where Mr. Krabs fought and killed Pearl's mother. Here's why this makes sense. The whale looks enormous and aggressive. It's not smiling, it's not peaceful. It almost looks like it's attacking the ship or being hunted. That wouldn't be a random picture to frame unless it meant something major. Maybe she wasn't attacking. Maybe she was protecting her baby, and Krabs, being the greedy, war-driven sailor he once was, saw her as a threat or a prize, and only afterward did he discover she had a child. And in the very next episode, we get this crazy line.
After the war, Krabs stayed secluded in a deep depression that seemed endless.
The war was probably this scene we see in the picture where we see Mr. Krabs fighting the massive whale. And after realizing she was just protecting her child, he was wrecked with guilt. So he adopted Pearl, raised her as his daughter, and buried the truth. That's why he fell into a deep depression after the war. There's an exclamation Mr. Krabs says all the time.
Mother of Pearl! Mother of Pearl! Mother of Pearl!
Mother of Pearl. It's usually in place of "oh my god" or "holy shit." But think about it, he never says Pearl's mom directly, he just yells "Mother of Pearl." Like an involuntary trauma response, it's like his version of swearing but more personal, and a subconscious reference to the most traumatic thing he's ever done: killing Pearl's mother. In the episode Hooky, where fisherman hooks dangle from above the ocean, Mr. Krabs is literally the only one in Bikini Bottom that freaks out and acts over the top paranoid about the hook, almost almost like he had a past with them. Maybe the hooks brought back the war flashbacks and trauma.
They're back! They're back, I tell you! I saw them with my own eyes! The hooks! The hooks! How about a mint?
Also in the episode Sailor Mouth, where SpongeBob and Patrick discover a bad word and start saying it casually, thinking it just makes them sound grown up. But Mr. Krabs freaks out.
But Mr. Krabs, we were only using our sentence enhancers.
Yeah, it's fancy talk. There ain't nothing fancy about that word.
You mean...
Yes, that one. Now quit saying that. It's a bad word!
His reaction is way over the top, and he tells them that it's a forbidden word that sailors used to use. And when he hears it again, he literally starts panicking. That word was common in the military, and Mr. Krabs would have heard it during the war. What if it reminds him of the time he killed Pearl's mom? So now hearing it again doesn't just make him angry, it takes him back. And here's a dark twist. What if Pearl's mom is still here, but as a ghost, haunting Mr. Krabs and the Krusty Krab? But there's still one last mind-blowing moment that seals this whole theory. In Sleepy Time, SpongeBob enters Mr. Krabs' dream and he's fishing alone like he probably did in the Navy. And it's revealed what he's fishing for. A giant dollar bill. A dollar bill he calls Moby Dollar.
What you doing, Mr. Krabs?
I'm picking Neptune's pocket.
What are you talking about?
I'm talking about cold, hard flipping cash. It's the mighty Moby Dollar.
That's not just a clever pun, it's a direct reference to Moby Dick, the story of an obsessed sea captain hunting a massive whale. Dreams expose the subconscious, so Mr. Krabs was dreaming about hunting a whale, but he disguised it as chasing money. The whale is Pearl's mom, and the dollar represents his greed. He killed Pearl's mother, and now he's haunted by the cost. It explains the trauma, silence, and the guilt. So maybe that's the full story. Maybe that's where it ends. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Wait a second. What if Pearl wasn't the only thing Mr. Krabs brought back from the war? What if he carried something else too? Something much darker? What if he brought back Pearl's mother's dead body, hid it, and used it? Because what we're about to uncover next might explain the one thing no one in Bikini Bottom has ever figured out. The Krabby Patty is the most loved burger in Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob swears by it. Squidward secretly eats them. Even Plankton, who owns a competing restaurant, has spent his entire life trying to steal the recipe. But what's actually in it, and where does that patty come from? We never see meat being delivered to the Krusty Krab. SpongeBob never prepares it from raw ingredients. And there are no cows, pigs, or fish being farmed for food in Bikini Bottom. So how is the Krusty Krab always stocked? How does Mr. Krabs have an endless supply of meat? Well, here's the horrifying theory. He doesn't stock it, he's been using a single, massive, long-lasting source. A dead whale's carcass, specifically the body of Pearl's mother. Think about it. In real life, a whale carcass can feed an entire deep-sea ecosystem for decades. Tens of thousands of sea creatures rely on that one body for survival. Mr. Krabs, being a war veteran, likely dragged her body back from the battlefield and froze it, stored it, and built his business on it. That's why the Krabby Patty is so good. That's why nobody knows the recipe. Because it's not a formula, it's a secret, a crime. But here's where it gets even worse. One day, he's going to run out. The body's not going to last forever, and when it's gone, he'll need a new source, and who better than Pearl? He feeds her, spoils her, and gives her everything she wants. But it could be because he loves her. I mean, the Krusty Krab sign is literally on a clamshell. That's where pearls come from, right? Or is he fattening her up, keeping her close so she doesn't run away? Because when the freezer runs empty, she's next.